At 0612 a.m., these three Russian aircraft had no awareness that a dozen FP-2 drones were racing across the Black Sea at 80 meters altitude straight toward them. While 40 kilometers ahead of the drones sat Belbek Air Base, Russia's most critical facility in Crimea, hosting those aircraft and numerous air defense systems. And in less time than it takes to get a pizza delivered, Ukraine would inflict one of Russia's largest single combat aviation losses of the war, as the drones advanced in three loose groups of four spread across 2 kilometers of open water, flying at 80 meters below the radar horizon and remaining invisible until they crossed the 30-kilometer mark, where Earth's curvature no longer concealed them, with the lead group crossing at 0613 as Russian radar antennas spun ahead scanning empty sky, while Ukrainian operators could not yet see what would happen next because video feeds only activated during terminal approach, and for now they monitored telemetry, altitude, heading, and airspeed as 12 green icons crept toward a coastline packed with systems designed to destroy them. Until the NABO SVU early warning radar positioned northwest of the main runway detected them, its antenna rotating every 6 seconds. And although most radars struggled to spot small drones due to signal scattering from composite airframes and radar-absorbing materials, the NABO SVU's VHF wavelengths reflected off anything larger than a meter, rendering stealth shaping useless and causing the FP-2's 6-meter wingspan to light up clearly. So at 0614, the radar operator watched 12 contacts appear at 38 kilometers range, bearing 315, closing at 150 kilometers per hour, sent an alert to the S-400 battery requesting engagement, received a negative response not due to reluctance but physics, because the S-400's targeting software filtered out anything moving under 100 kilometers per hour to ignore birds and weather clutter, while the drones cruised at 95 kilometers per hour and flickered on the screens without forming a stable track due to the velocity filter, a radar spam filter that made sense in 2007 but now deleted the most important threat, leaving the Panzer S-2 3 kilometers away as the only option with insufficient time, while the NABO radar kept tracking and feeding data as the FP-2s crossed the coastline at 0617, still invisible to everything except long-wavelength radar, even as Russian GPS jammers flooded the spectrum with electromagnetic noise that would have crippled cruise missiles, but had no effect on drones that did not rely solely on GPS. It had been designed to provide protection, but the steel bars that could have stopped a horizontal attack did nothing against a weapon falling from above, as the warhead pierced the roof of the radar vehicle and detonated inside, triggering secondary explosions that rippled through the compartment while electronics cooked off, leaving the cage completely intact and undamaged while the system it was meant to protect no longer existed, a structure worth perhaps $50,000 in steel and welding, failing to save equipment valued at $60 million, along with national pride. And by that moment, the Panzer had finally reached the radar site only in time to witness the third drone destroy its target, a communications relay linking the S-400 to the regional air defense network, with 7 FP-2s still airborne and turning toward the flight line, while the Panzer crewed had roughly 90 seconds to stop them, the vehicle skidding to a halt as the crew skipped stabilization procedures to spin up the search radar, knowing more drones were still approaching in the darkness, and every second lost meant less distance to impact. The operator immediately detected 3 contacts bearing 045 at 4 kilometers, 400 meters altitude, descending with roughly 80 seconds to weapons release, while the Panzer carried 12 missiles capable of accelerating to 3 times the speed of sound in 2 seconds and maneuvering violently enough to shred a fighter jet. Its tracking radar able to follow targets the size of a soccer ball at 10 kilometers, meaning 3 slow drones flying straight should have been an easy kill. But this time, Ukraine was the one deflating the footballs, as the first missile launched at 0624 and destroyed the lead drone at 3.2 kilometers, leaving 11 missiles and 2 drones, before a second launch 6 seconds later was defeated by a clever maneuver where the remaining drones crossed paths, merging their radar returns into a single blob before separating again, forcing the seeker to guess incorrectly, destroying the wrong drone while the correct one continued inbound, with the second drone exploding at 2.4 kilometers, but the third now inside the missile arming distance of 1,200 meters, rendering the interceptor useless as the operator switched to twin 30mm cannons firing 5,000 rounds per minute, only to have geometry defeat them, as the drone dove at 52 degrees while the guns could elevate only to 45, sending tracers into empty sky before the shaped charge struck the engine compartment at 0625, eliminating Belbek's point defense as early warning radars lay in debris. The fire control radar was destroyed, and the Panzer burned while 4 FP2s remained airborne and turned toward the flight line, where a MiG-31 interceptor sat exposed, with its canopies open during an active attack, the result of a baffling decision by the 38th Fighter Aviation Regiment to conduct maintenance amid explosions, leaving a $40 million aircraft defenseless as the FP2 descended from 380 meters. Its camera clearly showed the twin-tail silhouette and open cockpits. The operator aimed at the wing route where fuel met weapons bay before initiating a terminal dive, detonating the shaped charge at 0628 and focusing a copper-lined jet moving at 8,000 meters per second through titanium skin, fuel bladder, and weapons bay, triggering secondary explosions that scattered burning debris across 200 meters of concrete, while 3 FP2s circled overhead, recording the destruction, and command staff made another fatal choice by scrambling fighters to hunt drones, sending 2 Su-27s rolling from shelters at 0631 as engines spooled and crews rushed checks, unaware the aircraft were about to be targets. With engine startup, avionics initialization, inertial alignment, control checks, and missile cooling compressing a 5-minute process into 3 as drones circled, until at 0634, 2 FP2s struck the Su-27s on taxiway 3, detonating missiles, igniting fuel, destroying both aircraft in under 4 seconds for a combined loss of $70 million. Followed by a third drone diving into the control tower at 0635, shattering windows, destroying radar screens, and turning communications equipment into shrapnel, leaving Belbek effectively blind and grounded for the foreseeable future.